All right, this is gonna be a really quick video. You know, I did a video that asked if 22 is enough, and I went through a lot of the talking points of if 22 is enough or not. And I did a ballistic test on that, and I would suggest watching that video because that'll make a lot more sense. This video will make a lot more sense if you do. But basically, I got a lot of people that were seemingly angry, and I've actually had to block and delete some comments because they were so extraordinarily angry that in that video, when I tested 22 long rifle versus 380 ACP and also 38 special and some target shooting portions of that, that I did not use the best of the best 22 ammo out there. And the reason why I did that in my previous video where I just used basic ammo was because for decades, you know, the talking point of 22 was using specific ammo that had been out there for a long time, and just coming right off the bat using some of the best defensive ammo that was just invented didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. So what I wanted to do is I want to try to be fair if I can, and a lot of people think fair is making something so terrible that something that's less good seems like it's better than it is. So to be fair, which is really kind of impossible to do because I'm going to test against 38 special, I brought out a couple of different defensive rounds here. I'm also going to use guns that are similar size here. We got our Taurus 605, and then we have our Heritage Barkeep. Both are roughly a 2-inch barrel, so this should give us, you know, a fair comparison here. So I have my standard go-to, my Critical Defense Plus P FTX 110 grain. That's been my go-to 38 special load for a long time. It does about 900 feet per second out of a snub nose barrel, so over 200 foot-pounds of energy. Now, with our Winchester Silvertip and our Federal Punch are the two that I'm going to use here for our defensive, because those are the two that are listed as defensive 22 long rifle ammo. I haven't seen any others that are listed as specifically handgun defense, but these two are. So our Winchester Silvertip is a 37 grain hollow point. It says it's a segmenting hollow point. I ran some chronograph numbers through our Beretta Bobcat and through this Heritage here. And through the Beretta Bobcat, we had 875 feet per second. With this Barkeep, 917. So definitely going to use the Barkeep because it's going to push it faster than that little Beretta pistol. And with our Federal Punch, this is actually surprising. Through our Bobcat, 975 feet per second. But through our Barkeep, 1166 feet per second. That's some pretty decent velocity for about a 2.6 inch barrel. So that's going to be interesting to test those. And what I'm going to do for my ballistic test here is just like before, no denim, no MDF, just straight clear ballistics. You know, give these rounds the best chance for performance as possible. So let's get started with this test and see what we get. All right, going to run a couple rounds of the 38 Special Critical Defense Plus P. See how these do. So take a look at that. And very consistent performance, expansion on both. Both are almost exactly at 12 inches. It looks like the one is, you know, both of them look like they're about a little bit short here. About 11 3/4 and about maybe 11 and 3/8, something like that. So just a little bit shallow, but that's because we got more expansion than typical with no denim. And, you know, a person's going to be wearing at least a little denim. So let's try some 22 now. Let's try our Silvertip now. So take a look at that. And these are considered to be segmenting, and that's what we're seeing here. We're seeing a bunch of different segments here coming apart. You know, with the top shot here, it looks like the entire thing broke up and stopped at about 3 inches of penetration. I don't see a bullet core beyond that. Maybe I do actually. Yes, we have a bullet core that's somewhere around 11.5 inches. The second one broke up differently, and our core is right at about 10 inches. So let's try our Federal Punch now. All right, Federal Punch. So take a look. so interesting. It's kind of sporadic. One got a lot different penetration than the other. The thing we're seeing with this is the one that lacks penetration has almost no damage in that gel. But we're looking at about 11.5 inches. Now this next one here actually has more damage, and we're at about 15.25 inches. So we are definitely seeing something different here in consistency, because our 38 special basically did the exact same thing. With our 22, it's like both of these had something that was sporadically different from shot to shot. So I think that had a lot to do just with, you know, we don't have a lot of weight on those bullets there, and a lot of weird things can happen when you're shooting 22. A lot of people say, well, they're more effective because they tumble around in the body. I'm not really sure I believe that. What I am sure of it is they just are not very effective, as far as what I can tell. So I pretty much never do this very often, but I wanted to show this after the fact, because I do talk a little bit about what I'm seeing, and you're not going to see it out there in the woods, and you're going to see it here though with the right light. You know, our bullet path right here is our 38 special, and it's about 1 inch wide. It is a massive amount of damage, and it comes down to rest, you know, where it rested, and there's a lot of fragments of copper jacket. Just a massive amount of damage right there. That is huge. Above that, we actually have pretty close to the same size damage path with that Winchester Silvertip where it fragmented out. But then after that, our damage is just very minimal. And then above that is our Federal Punch, and this is kind of what we're seeing both times. You just have this little tiny little cut right through that. So you compare that, that's our typical 22, even with the best 22 long rifle, and we compare it to that, you know, they're not even comparable. And that's what I'm seeing here is, you know, it's causing, like, I would estimate 5 times the amount of damage as it's going in there. It is just a massive energy dump. And 38 special is just awesome for what it can do compared to like 22. Well, I figured I would show these bullets rather than measure them. We know what we get with our critical defense. These are probably going to be about 52/100ths of an inch diameter. Good expansion, very consistent. It's a big bullet. Now with our Federal Punch here, what we're looking at is, you know, just non-expanded bullets. They're not going to expand. And with our silver tips, you know, we had some broken pieces off in here that can't really get out very easily. You know, this one expanded probably to like 26/27 of an inch. This one, if you count that little pedal hanging off there, probably you might get 30/100ths of an inch going to the side, but you know, that's just one little pedal there. So what you're seeing here, if we compare 22 to 38, there's not even a similarity in the performance that you're getting with stuff like this. And a lot of people, they still get angry about it, but in my position where I test ammo, I don't find it to be a conscionable thing to do, to lie to people and say, you know, this is just as good as 38 special, or it's better because it tumbles and stuff like that. In my humble opinion here, something like 22 is not particularly effective, and that's why you see on some of the listed data that the stopping power, quote unquote stopping power numbers, are more like 20% with stuff like this, maybe 25%, as where you look at stuff like this, when we get into plus P variety of 38, you look at more like you're seeing numbers like 75, 80%, 82%, stuff like that, which means most of the time this is going to stop a threat with a shot. Most of the time this is not going to stop a threat with a shot. So I think it's good to have this information out there. That's not to say this won't work. It's not to say any of that. It's just to show that the ballistic performance really is not similar. So I just had to show that. That's what you get today, the best of the best ammo. I don't know. I know a lot of people are going to come on here and be like, you didn't try Velocitor, you didn't try Stinger, you didn't try this and that. You know, maybe they would be better, but they're not really listed as handgun rounds. And I'm trying to be fair, you know, as 38 special is a handgun round. With our critical defense, to use something that's listed as a handgun round. So that's what you get today with these. Interesting results. So as always, comment, share, and like, and thanks for watching.